Hello everybody, my name is Jack Gleason. I am the founder of Startuptrading.com, and in today's video we're going to be going over a full tutorial of the Thinkorswim software. Thinkorswim was originally started in Chicago and then bought out by TD Ameritrade. It is one of, I think, the best free trading platforms out there. I specifically use it for charting. There's an incredible amount of resources within inside of this platform, and when you first begin, it might be hard to navigate. So the goal of this video is to help you guys understand how to navigate the Thinkorswim platform and how to customize it to what you want to do. I'm going to go over all of the things that I think are important, and then I can take questions at the end of this video. All right, so I'm going to assume you've already logged into your Thinkorswim platform. If you log into your Thinkorswim platform, this is what's called your main instance. This is the first thing that's going to pop up. Now, at the top of the screen, you have a monitor for your positions, a trade tab, an analyze tab, a scan tab, a market watch. But really what we're going to be focusing on here today is specifically the chart tab and how to customize charts. On the left hand side of your screen, you will see an arrow for Thinkorswim, and you can pull this out, and there is watch lists that you can attach here. What I want to show you guys first how to do is actually create a custom watch list. So there will be these are called gadgets on the left hand side. You can switch these gadgets out by clicking these three dots and then selecting switch gadget. There's many different things. There's live news, a message center, watch list, but I'm going to go to watch list here, and we're then going to scroll up to the top under that, and then we can click. This says sector internals, which is just a watch list I've built. There is public watch lists that are available, 24-hour trading, American style indexes. These are all watch lists that are built inside of Thinkorswim already. You can go to the S&P 500 here, NASDAQ composite, etc. But if you want to create a watch list, whether you're watching futures or stocks, you just go down to create watch list. You would then go about naming the watch list, so stock watch list or whatever, and then you could enter the symbol like Apple, hit the enter button. Oops, I spelled Apple wrong. Two A's. Google, GOG, and then add symbol. Okay, save. We're just going to do that real quick. And then one of the things that's really helpful to do is actually link your watch list. And the way to link your watch list, to the right of where it says the watch list name, there's going to be this symbol link button, and you can actually change that to a specific color. Then if you go to your chart, you can, right next to the ticker box, there's going to be the same option. So if I have these both linked as purple, and then I go to my watch list and click, say, Google, which just had their earnings, it's going to pull up the Google chart. Apple, which just had its earnings, it's going to pull up the Apple chart. This makes it really easy to go through your scan. Now I have these are all different binary products, binary options products, and I can actually just click in here and then use my key button, my up and down key button, to just scroll through these charts. This is one of the easier ways I like to just view charts if I'm scanning through specifically. So that's just a quick tool that I wanted to show you guys here in Thinkorswim that I think you will find valuable. The next thing I'm going to show you guys how to do is called detaching a layout. Now, if you've opened up Thinkorswim for the first time before and you only have one area of charts, maybe you want more charts, you're going to go up here to the top right and you're going to click detach. What that's going to do is it's actually going to create this is called a second instance or a separate instance, and you can do this as many times as you want. So say if you're running two monitors, I have another monitor that's out of the view, and I could slide this to my other monitor after I detach it, and say I have the Russell on one screen and I want to watch the S&P on another, I would just type in that ticker box /ES and then scroll over, and you can just move it around, or you can choose to minimize it by just clicking the corner of the Thinkorswim and then moving it around. There is a button at the top right here that looks like a pin. If you click that pin button, what that will do is that will actually keep this chart above your other one. Otherwise, if I click in the background, that chart will disappear if I don't have this pinned. I just unpinned it. Watch, I click in the background, that chart automatically disappears. So let me pull that back up. All right, so using this pin will keep that nailed down. The next thing I want to show you guys how to do, and we'll do this with the second instance that we've created, is actually create it's called a multi-grid. So if you go to the top right here, what you're going to see is there's a ton of different boxes. Now I'm going to scroll through all of them. Okay, this is a little obnoxious in my opinion, but if you wanted to watch, how many stocks would this be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 4. There's 32 possible symbols that you could watch at once. I don't think it's possible to watch 32 things at once, but you get the point. You can click to 4, and then what you would do down here is you would come in and you type in whatever you wanted to watch. Now, if I type in YM and this is what you see on my screen, the only thing that this is this is I think it's just like a mouse trader or like a single click trader. And if you look at the right here where it says DB, I need to click C, which represents charts, and unclick DB. That'll pull the chart up. I'm going to come over here, type in NQ. Same thing, it's going to pop up. This is just a single click trader. I want to get rid of that. I want to look at the chart. All right. Once I have everything set up the way I want it, I can go here, back to the top right corner, and actually save the grid as. Now, you can name it whatever you want to name it, 2x2, 4x4, whatever. I like to name things that helps me remember what that chart looks like. And then you actually are saving that layout, saving that grid. So in the future, once you've saved it, and I'll just load one of my pre-saved grids here. So like once you save it, you'll be able to just load it up in the future, and it'll pull up all of the stocks that you have already saved with the exact settings. So that's really a good, useful tool. Now, there is 2 different types of charts that you can look at in Thinkorswim. There is just the chart tab button up here, and then there's also something called a flexible grid. And what a flexible grid allows you to do is actually staggered the grids in different types of directions. And I'm going to show you guys what exactly I mean. So before everything was like rectangles and squares, and if you go to the flexible grid here, there is it's 6 boxes, or no, that's 9 boxes up here. You can click customize grid, and what customize grid is going to do is it's going to bring up all of your options to add grids. So there's like a plus button here, so that will bring a ticker box or a chart up below, and then I can add one there. If I don't want it, I just cancel. There's also an option for the sidebar. So the sidebar is going to allow you to see TNS, which is times in sales, which is the orders that are going off currently. And then there's active trader, which is if you're actively buying and selling positions on Thinkorswim. There's also N stands for news, so there'll be like different news events for that specific. I don't usually use that. L2 is level 2, which is just the bid and ask spread on the different exchanges. Also, it's not something I use, but I just want to show you guys how it is. Once you've formulated the Thinkorswim chart to how you want it to be, whatever your specific grid you'd like to look at, all you got to do then at that point in time is come up here, and then you're going to save the flexible grid. So you would enter a name for the flexible grid and then just click save. And then you'll still have these boxes here on your screen, okay? These boxes on your screen, you just go back up and you unselect customize grid, and that will take those boxes off of your screen. At this point in time, you've probably done some interesting things to your chart. You want to save it. You're going to go up to setup, and then you can always save the workspace as, and you can just name it whatever you want to name it. Let me think of some other things. We're going to go, and I'm going to show you guys how to use the drawing tool set. We're going to go back to charts. We have 2 charts here, one on the left and one on the right. These are both synced together. The one on the left is a 15-minute chart, and the one on the right is I'm just going to make it an hourly chart. If I want to change the ticker, so if I type in Google here, it's going to bring up Google on the left as a 15-minute chart and on the right as an hourly chart. And that is because these colors here are linked, purple and purple, okay? So if I have two charts, but I really want to zoom in on one, I can right click and then maximize the grid cell. That'll blow up the entire chart on my screen. And let's move into customizing some of the background studies here. Now, these are just standard candlesticks. Some of you guys might like to use bar charts. So if you go up to style and you can change it to a candle trend, you can change it to Hekinashi, which I don't use, but you can definitely use those if you feel like they're easier on the eye or help you trade. There's also a line chart. Equal volume, which is an interesting one. This is actually just all based on volume in the size of the bar. And yeah, so I just have a candle chart, or sometimes I will use a bar chart, but that's how you switch that around. What we're going to do is we're going to go into the main section of the studies now, and I'm going to show you guys how to change the background color of your Thinkorswim. If your Thinkorswim settings are currently set to default, your background's probably blue. Well, how did I get mine black? I'm going to show you guys here. The majority of your chart settings for the visual representation of what you're looking at is going to be in this top right. It just looks like a bolt or a nut or a shooting ninja star, whatever you want to call it. You're going to click that, left click, and these are where all of your settings are going to be for a lot of the things you need to find. So if you go to the appearance, one of the things you can do is candle fill up and down. So if you don't want your candles to be filled, you can see how that's getting represented on the right here. So if you want to fill up or fill down or just fill down, that helps you. You can also change the color of the candlesticks if you want to use different colors. But for background, now I have my volume bars set as gray. I think the default is like blue or yellow. I don't remember what the default is, but I just go in here, volume bars, and you can actually just change that to a gray color. You can also make it the same color as the candlestick. I think that looks really noisy, so I prefer to just have it grayed out. Now, for the background of the Thinkorswim, you can barely see it because it's black and it's black on black. So for the background here, you need to go to the background, click change color, and then I just have mine as black. I find it easier on the eyes if I'm staring at my screen all day. And then also the grid here, which I have unchecked. I just checked it, and you can see the background. What that is that's separating the chart by the hour zone that the chart is graphed in. I leave my grid off. Okay, I do not like to have my grid on. I don't think it's necessary to mark up each section of time. But if you like it, once again, I recommend a lighter color like gray because it doesn't distract from the chart. So those are those settings there. I wanted to show you guys looking at some of the other things. I want to then show you guys how to access your drawing tools and your studies. Inside of Thinkorswim, there are drawing tools that you can use, and there's two ways to access those tools. One of them is actually just clicking up here under the drawings, and then you can go down to drawing tools, and then you have all of the tools here. Or you have at the bottom right hand corner, you're going to have your active tool set, and you'll be able to choose. You have like here is just like a vertical support and resistance level. You have a trend line here that you can just draw. I also like to use, I'm a big fan of this box. So I'll like box out levels of support and resistance that I'm potentially looking at. Now yours, if you draw any of those markers on your chart, your settings are most likely going to be different than my settings. So how do you change the settings? For example, if you right click, if you draw a line on your chart, a support or resistance line, which is, it's just called a price level, that's what they call it. If you draw that on your chart, there's a couple of settings that you can change in here, and you need to right click and edit the properties. These are my settings. I have the color set to white, looks good on the black background. My style is a dashed line and my width is 3. Also, I have my right extension on. If I want to turn my left extension on, what is that going to do? It's going to bring it all the way across my screen to the left. If I want to turn my right extension off, what is that going to do? It's just going to end it right there. So there's a couple of ways that you can draw that. I keep it with left extension off, right extension on, and then I show price on the left. Show price on the left, okay? And what that does is it lets me know the price. There's also a quick click option where you just hit the center wheel on your mouse. If you have a Mac, I don't know how you do that, but I use a PC, so I'm just clicking the center wheel on my mouse, and that quickly pulls up my drawings. Okay, let's go in here. Make sure if you do change your drawings, guys, that you are saving as default, otherwise it'll just revert back. Same thing with the box. If we go in, we edit the properties, and then what we'll do is, you can change the color. If I'm looking for a buy zone, I typically make it green. If I'm looking for a sell zone, I usually make it red. But one thing I do is, let's just assume I have a resistance level at wherever I drew this box. And I thought it was going to trade here on Tuesday where my mouse is, but it didn't. But I'd like to bring that box over. I'll just right click, edit those properties, and I'll move the date over. And what that'll do is it'll drag the box, the resistance level, all the way across my screen. Okay, that's just an easy way to do that. You can just remove the drawing, or you can duplicate it. If you want to move the drawing or duplicate it, just right click, duplicate, or you can activate the drawing. So right click, activate is going to allow you to change the drawing as well. It's basically its dimensions of the drawing. So that's a really cool tool set there. And then same thing for the trend line, guys. For the trend line, what I have is I have right click, and then to the next level or whatever, right click, edit properties. You can actually change the color. I have mine set to orange. The style is a solid line. The width is 3. I do not show the value. I have my left extension off, my right extension on, and then save as default, click OK. One of the really important things, if you're big into technical analysis and you're drawing, whether it be Fibonacci sequences, support or resistance levels, is you need to go into settings, and it's called snap drawings to OHLC. So settings under general, you're gonna have snap drawings to OHLC. What does that mean? Well, OHLC stands for open, high, low, close. And what that's going to do is that's going to snap the drawing and give you that perfect touch. Otherwise, it's just going to be wherever you put the mouse. But this is going to snap, and you can see, it'll snap to the open, it'll snap to the close, or the high or the low. It's just wherever the closest you have your mouse. So it's really important, especially when you're drawing Fibonacci sequences, to have that very specific, okay? So that's a setting you're going to want to make sure you have. Also, you can do different drawing sets for different time frames. Initially, when you load up Thinkorswim, everything's going to be under what's called a default drawing set, which is just your default. But you can come in here and say, hey, I want to create a new drawing set. I'm going to call this Google Weekly. Okay, these are just weekly support and resistance levels that I want on Google. Then I'm going to go out to the weekly chart, and let's say, oh man, we had a massive support level here in the crash, right? And then I guess we have highs up here, but I don't want to look at this every day. I only want to look at it on the weekly chart. So you can create a totally separate drawing for the weekly, and then when you're done, you can just switch back to a new or your old drawing. So that's a really helpful tool for you guys to know. Let's see. How to load. The next thing I want to show you guys is actually how to load up a Thinkorswim chart. And often in my trade room, and I'm going to show you guys this right here, but every single day in my trade room, let's see, under my trade plan videos, these are called my levels, okay? And what I do with my levels is I load them every single day for my trade room members, and that looks like this. Now, if you just click that link, it looks like this. But one of the things you can do is actually copy that link. You go into Setup, Open Shared Item, and I have to use a short key, so I hit Control V to paste that in, Preview, and then Open. And what that will do is it actually opens up all of the levels, and I do this every morning and every evening for my trade room members, all of the levels for Thinkorswim that I had deemed to be significant or important levels of support or resistance for that day. And that's a really helpful tool to get everybody on the same page, and definitely really useful to anybody who's in my trade room at least. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and exit out of here. So now the next thing I want to show you guys is how to use quick studies in your style. I'm going to go to a futures contract in the top left. I'm just going to pick the ES because it's easy. Under style, I have a couple of basically shortcuts to different things that I want. Now I have show studies, overlap volume, show volume subgraph, and show extended session. So if I could just click this show volume subgraph, it'll pop up the volume behind. I can choose to not overlap volume, and that'll bring the volume down below the actual chart. Or I can choose to show studies or remove studies. Show studies, remove studies. And then the other one is just show extended session, remove extended session. Now, the way to get these shortcut studies or shortcut styles into your Thinkorswim is to just go up here. You're going to go back to this little nut. And I'm going to show you guys all the ones that I have checked. Also, I have synchronized crosshairs position checked under general. What that's going to do is if I'm mousing over a specific time on one of my charts, if I have another chart, it'll look like I have a synchronized cursor on that chart as well, which allows you to kind of make sure you know what you're looking at on all your charts. So under futures, there is going to be an option that's going to say show extended session trading hours. There's these little arrows. Any one of these arrows that you click in here makes it a quick edit under your style. So I have the show extended hours clicked. I have the show volume subgraph clicked out here. Okay, those are the important things. I also have show contract change events, which tells me, when the futures have rolled over. My extended session is not highlighted. I believe the default is a highlight, which would just basically highlight the after hours from 6 Eastern to the 9:30 open in New York every single day. I find that to be distracting, so I do not have my extended hours highlighted. And then under time and access, let's see where the other one is. Price access. And then, overlap volume here is just going to be checked. So once you've applied all of those, or any of these ones that you want to be able to quickly uncheck and recheck, just click apply and then OK. And then under style, you're going to be able to just go through and quickly either remove or add any of those options you want to your chart. I think the most important ones are like the hourly, the extended session turned on and off in this study. So you don't want to look at studies, boom, uncheck it. You want to look at the extended hours, boom, check it. If you're not looking at the extended hours, you're really just getting half the picture. A lot of the action and the price action comes in the extended hours session. Otherwise, just look at a SPY chart. So that's super helpful. Also, I don't use a ton of studies. Most of the studies I've used, I have created myself, but if you do want to look into the Thinkorswim studies, add something simple like a VWAP, which is a volume-weighted moving average. You can go into studies, edit studies. I'm just going to clear all of these out for now. And then let's just type in VWAP, volume-weighted moving average VWAP. I'm going to left-click here, click Add Selected, Apply, OK. And then I have my studies unchecked, so let's show studies here, and that's just going to apply this VWAP. Now, this VWAP actually has, I believe it's a standard deviation channel attached to it. So if you wanted to edit that out, you'd go to Studies, Edit Studies. You'd click this little nut here. And the upper band, I don't want to see the lower band, so I would remove the show plot on both of those, click OK, and then apply. And then I just get the VWAP on my chart here. One of the last things I want to go over is setting up your time frames. These are the time frames that I have. You can customize this list. At the top here, you have a 30-minute candlestick, or I should say a 30-minute option. You can go into customize list and you can create, and feel free to pause this video, but you can either duplicate everything I have here, or you can add a time frame, a daily time frame, an intraday time frame. You can go 15 days 15 minutes, or you can go, 5 days, 1 minute, whatever you want to do, you can save, and those are going to be your time frames. You can also move them up or move them down in order if that makes it easier for you. But I typically have mine organized from the ones I either use the most or the smallest time frame down to, you can see the largest time frame, 10-year monthly, all the way down here. So I think that's a really helpful thing to be able to use. And then once you're done with everything that you've set up in your Thinkorswim, make sure you go back, set up, and then save that workspace as. Make sure you name that workspace, save that workspace. That'll keep all the work you just did inside of Thinkorswim, and you'll be able to load it at any time. Although it should really automatically save when you close out, you always want to make sure that that's saved. Otherwise, you're gonna have to go through and redo the entire thing. But really, guys, that's gonna wrap up this video. I'll now take this opportunity to answer questions you guys have related to charting only and Thinkorswim only. I don't want to have any other questions right now. I want to stick to the topic that we're currently discussing. So please feel free to ask them in the YouTube live stream. I know that was a really quick video, and I wanted to do it fast so you guys could re-watch it and pause the video where you feel like you need to pause the video, but I didn't want to bore anybody by going through things really slow. I wanted to cover absolutely everything that I use that I could think of right now on Thinkorswim. Hopefully you guys found this video useful. If you did find this video useful, please give it a thumbs up. I want more people to be able to just see this. I think it's just education that people should be aware of if they use Thinkorswim. It took me a long time to learn most of the things that I just showed you guys on this platform. And if you're new to this platform, these are the types of things that can be totally overwhelming. I hope that you guys find this useful. Jack, remind me what the overlap volume function is about. So overlap volume just puts the volume in the back of the chart. Now you can, I don't really look at volume outside of it being relatively higher or lower. I'm not a big volume trader. It doesn't really influence my decisions to buy or sell. So it's not something I'm typically concerned with. So I actually, for the most part, do not even show volume. I don't show volume unless I wanted to see, oh, hey, did something, was there a huge amount of volume on that reversal or whatever. I don't typically actually use that volume. I do not use the fib extension tool. The easiest way to buy and sell, I don't buy and sell on Thinkorswim. I don't actually trade on Thinkorswim, but if you go to the active trader tab, I think that is the easiest way to buy and sell. You can place your buy orders on the bid side of the market at the price you'd like to enter, and you can place your sell orders at the ask size of the market. Or ask size, of the market. So you either sell here, buy here after you've done your analysis. With the dashboard pops up at the bottom. Brian, I had never seen the issue with the dashboard pops up at the bottom. I've never had that problem. I'm not sure what that is. I'm gonna wrap up this this video here because I just want it to be able to be used for replay, and I can answer some more questions later. But as far as how setting stops, I'll do an entire different webinar on order functions. I just want to cover chart functions right now. I'll cover order functions in a webinar next week, and we'll go over those things. I don't use TradingView, but I think it's a good platform. I just, creature of habit. I've been using Thinkorswim for a while. Everybody take care. Please share this video. Leave a comment below. And I'll catch you guys in the trade room.